Airlines are notorious for their razor-thin profit margins and vulnerability to external shocks like fuel price spikes, recessions, and global crises. Yet, despite countless bankruptcies, restructuring efforts, and financial turbulence, the three giants of the US airline industry, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, and United Airlines, seem indestructible. No matter how dire their financial situation becomes, they consistently find a way to stay airborne. But why is it that these carriers, often called legacy airlines, appear immune to the death spirals that have grounded so many others? The answer lies in a unique combination of historical advantages, legal protections, and their critical role in the broader economy. For most companies, bankruptcy often signals the end of the road. Debts are written off, assets are sold off, and the world moves on. But in the US airline industry, Chapter 11 bankruptcy functions more as a life support system than a death sentence. This legal process allows airlines to continue operating while restructuring their debts, renegotiating labor contracts, and shedding unprofitable routes or assets. Essentially, Chapter 11 gives airlines the breathing room they need to reset their financial footing without ceasing operations. Take Delta Airlines, which filed for bankruptcy in 2005 during a period of high fuel prices and weak demand. By the time it emerged from bankruptcy in 2007, it had slashed billions in costs, renegotiated its contracts, and positioned itself for growth. Similarly, United Airlines declared bankruptcy in 2002 and spent over 3 years restructuring, emerging leaner and better equipped to compete. These airlines not only survived, but thrived post-bankruptcy, often at the expense of smaller competitors who couldn't access the same resources or legal protections. Another key factor in the resilience of Delta, American, and United is their sheer size and importance to the national economy. These carriers are responsible for connecting dozens of domestic hubs and international destinations, facilitating both business travel and tourism. Their collapse would cause significant disruption, not just to the travel industry, but to the economy as a whole. Governments and policymakers understand this, which is why bailouts and financial support often follow when airlines face existential threats. For instance, during the recent pandemic, the US government provided $54 billion in aid to airlines through the CARES Act, ensuring they could continue operations despite plummeting demand. While critics argue this creates a moral hazard, rewarding poor financial management, it underscores the critical role airlines play in maintaining national connectivity and economic stability. Legacy airlines have another ace up their sleeve: their massive hub-and-spoke networks. These networks allow them to consolidate traffic at key hub airports, making even lower demand routes profitable. Here, they hold the lion's share of scarce and valuable runway slots, giving them an outsized ability to time flight departures and arrivals on the best commercial terms. Consider Atlanta. This is Delta's flagship hub. While Delta exists, no new entrant could ever hope to effectively compete here. The slots, infrastructure, and market share just isn't available. Smaller or low-cost carriers struggle to replicate this scale, leaving legacy airlines with a competitive edge in attracting both leisure and business travelers. What's more, these networks are bolstered by alliances like SkyTeam, led by Delta, Oneworld by American, and Star Alliance, led by United. These partnerships allow legacy carriers to offer seamless global connectivity, capturing high-value international travelers that smaller competitors like Southwest or JetBlue often can't serve effectively. The persistence of legacy carriers has had a profound impact on the US airline market. For one, their ability to survive bankruptcy and emerge stronger often puts immense pressure on smaller airlines. Low-cost carriers, or LCCs, like Spirit and Frontier, thrive in niche markets, or by undercutting fares on specific routes, but they lack the flexibility and resources to withstand prolonged competition with the giants. Legacy carriers also influence pricing dynamics. While they're known for higher fares, especially in business and first class, they often use aggressive pricing strategies on competitive routes to squeeze out smaller players. This can limit consumer choice and stifle competition in the long term. Additionally, their resilience has implications for labor relations. Pilots, flight attendants, and other employees often face wage cuts and benefit reductions during bankruptcy proceedings, even as airlines eventually return to profitability. This creates ongoing tensions between management and labor groups. The indomitable nature of Delta, American, and United isn't just a product of legal protections or government bailouts. It's also rooted in their ability to adapt. These airlines have consistently evolved to meet new challenges, whether it's adopting more fuel-efficient aircraft, leveraging technology to improve customer service, or expanding into lucrative international markets. At the same time, their survival raises important questions about fairness and competition. Smaller airlines argue that the system unfairly favors legacy carriers, creating an uneven playing field. Consumers too may suffer when the dominance of a few players limits choice and keeps fares high on certain routes. The resilience of Delta, American and United, reflects the unique dynamics of the US airline industry, a sector where bankruptcy isn't the end. Government support is readily available, and size often dictates survival. While their persistence ensures stability for the broader travel ecosystem, it also highlights the challenges faced by new entrants and smaller competitors. Whether this status quo is sustainable in an era of rising costs, environmental pressures, and evolving consumer expectations remains an open question. For now, though, these airlines remain the titans of the skies, seemingly impervious to the turbulence that has grounded so many others. Delta went bankrupt as a result of high oil prices. Click here for a deep dive into fuel hedging, a technique some airlines use to cope with oil price fluctuations. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.